Hey everybody, Tim Woodruff here from the SN Guys and SN Pro Tips. Today I'm making a quick video to demonstrate how to set up custom search engines in Google Chrome to quickly navigate to specific tables in your instance. This topic was adapted with permission from a post on the ServiceNow subreddit by Ian Brown, so thanks Ian for posting that pro tip. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a custom search engine in Chrome which will allow you to quickly jump to or even search within a specific table from the URL bar in your browser. As an example, if I open up a new tab and type user ID, you'll see that I've got a little prompt on the right of the URL bar that says to press tab to search my PDI for users by user ID. Pressing tab, I can type in fred.l and press enter, and it'll search the sys user table of my PDI for users whose username begins with that sequence. And here you can see that we've found the user in question, Fred Luddy. To set something like this up, let's start by navigating to a table that we'd like to create a custom search engine for. I'll use the example I just showed you, which is searching the sys user table by the user underscore name field, which is labeled user ID by default. So even though I'm already there, I'll start by navigating directly to the sys user table. And I'll search for user ID starts with fred.l. This will of course show me the filtered list results as normal. So what I want to do now is right click on that query breadcrumb and copy the URL. I'm going to save that URL into Notepad for the next step. Now in Google Chrome, I'm going to hit the menu at the top right and go to Settings. In the Settings menu, we'll scroll down to the Search Engine section and we'll click on Manage Search Engines. Finally, next to Other Search Engines, we'll click on Add. In the Add dialog, we'll first give our custom search engine a friendly name. This is what's going to show up after we hit Tab. If I type in user ID in the URL bar and press Tab again, for example, it says search PDI users by user underscore ID. The keyword field is the sequence that you have to enter before hitting tab in order to trigger the custom search engine. In the previous example, this sequence is user ID, all one word. Last, we'll need to enter the URL, and this is where we're going to need the URL of that query that we got earlier. So first, search engine, we'll call this PDI users by ID. Keyword, and this is again what we have to type into the URL bar. We'll just put in user ID. And of course I've already created this one, so it says it's not valid, but just ignore that. And finally, the URL. The URL contains a few components: the instance name, the base URI, and the nav_2.do page sometimes, depending on whether or not you want the page to show up in this frame on the left and on the top. Then we've got the page containing the user's list, sys_user_list.do. After that, we have a URI parameter, which contains the query that we were looking at before, which is user ID starts with fred. Or fred.l. But whenever you're using a custom Chrome search engine, you've got this special character, %s. Wherever you put that character or sequence in the URL, it'll be replaced by the query that you enter to your custom search engine when you invoke it. Referring again to the previous example, if I change fred. To %s in this case, then this custom search engine would send me to the list view of the users table with a query that says, show me only users where the user ID starts with whatever I enter into the search. In this example, it would show me users whose IDs start with fred.l. If I were to type user ID tab fred.l. So we take that URL with %s in the query where we want it to go. We copy that whole thing and put it in the URL. Now, in my example, I've got the nav_2.do page with the URI parameter $URI equals, and then the rest of the URL. You can do it that way, or you can do it this way without nav_2.do. If you wanted to do it this way, you would simply copy the URL from here and put your %s right here. Either way you do it though, you end up at the list view with the query, including your search string wherever you put the %s. So this is pretty handy for getting to a particular table and doing a particular search if you already know what you're going to be looking for. But that's not all we can do. Now that we understand the basics of how custom Chrome search engines work, we can do all sorts of stuff. For example, maybe navigating to your instance, waiting for everything to finish loading, and then using the .list shortcut to enter a table name followed by .list into the application navigator filter bar, and pressing enter to navigate to a given table is a bit of an annoyance, and you'd like to be able to jump right to a table from your URI bar. Well, that's no problem. All we have to do is modify our URL a little bit and insert %s again. But this time we're going to put it in place of the table name and leave off the query. So let me show you how to do that. For our search engine, instead of PDI users by ID, I might call it PDI, which is my instance, my personal developer instance, PDI table. I'll make the keyword just table, and I'm going to take my instance URL, and this time I'm going to use nav_2.do $URI equals, and then whatever table name I enter. Since I'm going to invoke the custom Chrome search engine and use whatever string of text I put into that search engine right here where the table goes, I'm going to do %s. So this way I can say nav2.do URI equals, let's say sys_user. Well, if I want to get to the list view, I have to enter sys_user, and then I have to get to sys_user_list.do. So that's what my URL is going to look like. I'm going to take that whole thing and copy it in here and hit add. Now, if I type in my URL bar, table : sys_user and press enter, it takes me right to the users list. But here's a thought. How often do you really need to navigate directly to a table with no query? I bet that most of the time when you jump directly to a table, it's just so that you can get to the query builder in order to filter the table, right? And on some tables, just loading the list view can take a long time, especially if you have a very large task table or CMDB, for example. So let's modify our custom table search engine that we just created so that it just loads the filter for that table. There's a custom URI parameter for that in ServiceNow. So let's go back to Settings, under Search Engine, Manage Search Engines, and find our PDI table search engine. Go to Edit, and we're going to add on to this URL ampersand sysparm_filter_only equals true. And this is what that URI looks like now. We've still got %s, so whatever we enter, _list.do, except we've added this additional parameter sysparm_filter_only equals true. And that's going to tell the system that whatever list we decide to load, only show the filter. Now, if I type in table, hit tab, and go to, let's say, sysuser again, and enter, is going to take me directly to the users table, but with just the filter showing. Now, if I actually do want to see the whole table, I can just click on all here and it'll load the whole table. But on a lot of tables, loading the entire table takes a really long time. So instead, I can start the filter and let's say just get active users, which is a much easier query on the database. So you're going to be able to do that query sort of by default, as opposed to attempting to load the entire list without a query just to get to the filters. That's all for today. Thank you folks for watching. If you aren't subscribed to us on YouTube, please feel free to hit subscribe or go to yt.snc.guru. That's yt like youtube.snc.guru. Click the bell icon to be notified when new videos go up. Like this video if you liked it. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to SN Pro Tips over on our blog at snprotips.com. Thanks for watching.